Hello and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the big interview. Today's special guest is a coach with over 20 years of experience, an England regional coach, but also someone who very much specializes in the business of coaching. And kind of the reason we're producing these videos is this sort of sector of the market. So welcome Steve Astle to the channel. Hello, Steve.
Thanks for having me. It's good to see you.
Great to have you. In my opinion, one of the absolute leading voices in this industry of helping golfers improve their business. So you specialize very much in this, Steve, and this is, how did you get into sort of specializing in this area, and why do you think it's important for coaches today?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like some things kind of fell into it. Always had a passion for great customer service. I guess that's from going into a shop, going into a restaurant. It's something that always, and someday I'll trace it back as to why I've got that passion for that. But I always feel that somebody's got an option to how they treat you. And then for me, did the whole usual, background would be, went around the world, well, US college, wanted to play for a living, realized I wasn't good enough pretty quick, enjoyed watching other people get results from maybe the information that I was giving or the help I was giving them. So realized that I wasn't going to make a living from it. Maybe I could help other people make a living from playing. So that's kind of the route that I went. Then traveled the world in Austria, New Zealand, back into the UK, different levels of golf clubs from, municipal to private to proprietary owned to hotel resorts. So I'd seen a good experience of all these different places. And the one thing I'd done was always been able to fill my diary in those places. So it was kind of sitting back and putting all the dots together and just going, right, well, is it me that this just works for? Is it me that's something special or unique? Unfortunately not. It was more the things that I was putting in place. So I had a couple of pros reach out and we were like, well, let's put in place what I do and let's see if it works for you. And that's what we did. And it worked for them. And I guess what I really started with would have been, just changing the model. For me, it was getting out of the world of 6 for 5. It was getting out of this discounting model, getting out of almost the lesson model, if you like, and it becoming a coaching experience, a program, and more about the end result where somebody was going to get to, rather than I'm coming to you because I need to have lessons. So that just flipped it all on its head for me. And then that moved into the world of, other coaches going, can you help me as well? And it just developed into a consultancy that started out as a little bit of a side hustle and now is probably 80% of what I do. So I still like to coach, still like to get my feet on the ground and deal with people. And I guess that keeps me in with what's cutting edge, what's new, what's changing, what's happening. And I think that's important as well, that you're really in touch with the pros and the pros' pain points, what they're going through on a daily basis, and helps me
to understand exactly where everybody is, because I suppose also that's changed a little bit with time. We'll look at that
massively.
Later. But the landscape has obviously changed since you started coaching, and also since I started coaching. Like if you're a young coach right now and you're sort of wanting to become a successful coach very quickly, which everyone wants to be, sort of what would you see the steps being to a young coach today?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I'll be a bit diverse here with things. So I think the older generation is going to tell you that you need to earn your time, you need to earn your stripes, you need to go and get experience out in the field doing it. If I was a young coach right now, it would be fast track the process. The cheat code would no doubt be go and get mentors, go and network as much as possible. They would be the two biggest to begin with. Invest in yourself in the early years and it will fast track you down the line. I wish I'd have known that. And then I guess the other avenues would be getting to the scalable things much quicker. I'd have gone into YouTube, I'd have gone into online coaching, all of those assets much, much earlier, and got more control over what I was doing rather than being controlled by the facility.
That's a really interesting point. Just actually taking control of what you want to do and what you want to become, rather than sort of being a victim to, you have to do this. I think that's still very relevant today, isn't it? I mean,
that's daily conversations. I'm not allowed to charge this. I can't work at this time. My boss says I've got to do that. And it's almost the industry putting brakes on some of the younger coaches. And yeah, I think that's difficult for them. And they're going to find, again, that's going to flip on its head, because there are avenues now where they can go and create their own path and walk their own walk. And they're going to be able to do it very quickly with the digital tools that are out there now.
That's interesting. That's interesting, because everyone wants, obviously we're in a microwave society where everyone wants success very quickly, and you feel it's definitely possible today if you take the right steps. Yeah.
I think there's still core things that sit underneath that, which would be, there needs to be an element of hard work in there. There needs to be persistence. There's going to be failure and how you deal with failure.
Sure.
And I think there's more risk involved would be one of the things as well. I think, the whole paid role for 20 years, gradually moving up the ladder, and there's a bit more responsibility, a bit more money. We've seen young generation can make some good money fast.
Yeah.
And they can be smart with their time. They can outsource work so much easier. We couldn't outsource it. I say we, I'm sounding like the older generation now. We couldn't outsource it. We couldn't reach the whole world. We didn't have the digital platforms to be able to do that. So we were very much dealing with the 500 people in your club and trying to get really slick with those. And then maybe pulling in some people from outside as well, where actually the younger generation can go outside in. They can go get the outside people. And then, and absolutely. And the people that are in and around them just see what they're doing. So that's changed a lot. I think it helped us with understanding great customer service. But I'd love to be at that age again with it and be able to come at it from that different angle.
Awesome. Like, you've been around, obviously, with you. I mean, you're an England regional coach and you've been coaching for a long time. You've been around a lot of coaches as well, and a lot of top coaches. If for the guys out there who are wondering, like, what's the difference between the really good coaches and just the so-so coaches? What do you see as a difference?
I mean, I'm probably a bit biased here, but great technical knowledge. There's no doubt about that. They all have very good technical knowledge, but I think a lot of people do. Then I think the differentiators become the ability to market, the ability to establish a USP or a niche area in there that they can double down in. And then I think that would be the main two things I would say would be the USP, ability to market, brilliant communicators as well. I would say something that goes very underrated within that. And the business skills, they're putting together business with the technical knowledge, with the scalability, and that makes life so much easier. And you give me a top coach right now, a Phil Kenyon or a James Ridyard or a Mark Ball, they've all got academies, they've all got scalable products, they've all got, apps that go with it as well. They're not daft to be able to see what's going alongside their technical knowledge and their ability to deliver that information.
And that competence and reputation as well for that.
And I think that reputation comes through, again, they can grow that rep so much quicker now because they can get it out to thousands.
I mean, you touched on it just before a little bit, but like, if you did start out again tomorrow, what would you change in terms of your actual coaching career? Would you do anything differently, or what would you change?
Again, didn't have mentors around me.
Right.
At all. And I think there's two sides to that. I think with mentoring, you've got to be careful that you're not led down a path that is purely somebody else's version of how things should be done, or their perceived idea of what's going on. If it's a mentor that can come at it from that word holistic and very much kind of, clear picture and giving you a diverse look at what the industry looks like, then I think that I would have gone that route for sure. And not chase the money early. I probably chased the money early on. So went for jobs that maybe paid better, where actually I probably would have fast tracked by going to a better facility that was a higher network of people, maybe a higher net worth of people as well, that could have opened more doors for me, that knew more people. That was the thing. It's the old, as I virtually said it there, it's your network's your net worth. And it's just, how can you open those doors? I think if you're good enough, you'll get there eventually.
Right.
But having the skills to see those avenues that could open those doors quicker, for sure. There was opportunities that I turned down that now I would go, should have took that. But I was too busy looking at what it paid or the type of player I was working with.
That's interesting because obviously, everyone's after the money today, more than anything. Not that that's probably ever changed, but to step back a minute and say, yes, you might be well paid here, but you're limited in what you can do. You're limited in your network. You're limited in your possibilities. Whereas, yes, in the short term, another opportunity might not pay, but it will give you long-term much more opportunities to make real money, or
So I think, again, when you look at we'll talk about the big coaches. Most of the people watching this will know those. So if we said a Phil Kenyon, you look at the people that have almost gone underneath them, very good at what they do, but Mike Kansky, actually, I'm going to align myself with somebody here that's going to help me fast track in the industry.
Yeah.
And that's what he's done. Mike Walker did the same under Pete Cowan. Liam James sitting under Rob Rock. There's people there that if you align yourself with the right people early on, it can expose you to other people. Absolutely. I think it's the same in any industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
And again, in the golf thing, we've never done it. It's just been work hard, good things will happen to you, hopefully. So yeah, that'd be definitely one thing I would have done. And the second one would be the side hustles, getting those side hustles going earlier and setting up, you can now go set up 4 or 5 different side things going on here.
Passive income.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the word. The passive incomes that just weren't available to us. That was go and work 4 hours at Asda in the evening if you're going to have a side hustle.
Yeah, we'll go and work in a pub till 4 a.m. or something.
Absolutely.
Even in my apprenticeship, which was only 25 years ago, I was working in an Irish bar to pay the bills. Yeah.
So to answer the question, that's what I would have done. Would definitely been objective mentors. If you've got the reflective skills yourself to see where it's taking you, align myself with people that were more connected in the industry, as brutal as it sounds, and then look at ways to make passive incomes much earlier, playing the long game, buying things that might, show out to be 5 years down the line. And again, if I was in that's why, answer the question earlier, if I was in that world right now, I'd set up a YouTube channel with the I'm going to play this for 5 years and just constantly play this out, get on the right websites, build the right Instagram channels that you see.
Align yourself with the right people.
Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt about it.
What kind of negative experiences have you had, or is there any negative experiences that stand out that actually made you a better coach or made you a better business person?
I've been fortunate that I've had nothing major come at me, if that makes sense. Well, the biggest one would be a personal one. So for me, that was my family.
Yeah.
Got a couple of kids with special needs, and that made me change my business model completely.
Yeah.
And so, to be honest with you, it's huge in what has happened in my world. The fact that it made me want to drop the kids at school, go work for 5 hours, and then pick the kids up from school again. So it switched my focus completely from I want to be the #1 coach in the world with kids winning, players winning majors, to actually going, don't want to be a tour coach because I don't want to be away for 30 weeks.
Priorities completely changed.
Absolutely. And so because of that, it made me then switch the model of players I was working with. So I probably had a spell where I maybe had 35 pros on my books at one point, which was nice. Doesn't matter when you flicked a scoreboard on a screen, one of them is going to be doing well somewhere. And
Someone's up there.
Yeah, you can mark it off the back of that. But to suddenly go, actually, I want to work during the daytime. I want people that are prime payers because I want to maximize my hourly rate or what I was doing at the time. So I wanted people that got their own business, people that were, newly retired, people that were, self-employed or working shifts, that could come in and have coaching when I wanted to coach them. And to be able to flip that model and just go, I'm going to find the people that I want to coach that can pay what I want to charge, and to realize that it was possible because we don't need 10,000 clients to run a successful business. Okay. I maybe need about 60. That's it. Yeah. That was the big game changer for me, to be able to go, right, people will go for a coaching program. They're not all after a discount. They do want a long-term goal. And that enabled me to, my diary's full 6 months ahead now. So June's my next appointment. And to do that, again, that's why people came at me. How'd you do that? Well, you create the long-term goal rather than the fix your slice today.
You work how you want to work, and you almost forced to do it that way for with family priorities.
Yeah, but as you and myself will both talk about, I built the business around me rather than building my life around the business. That was the big changer.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. And I think, being able to do that early on as well in your coaching career would be very, very useful. If you can
Yeah.
set that up early on in your career and build your business around how you want to work. And
Yeah, and it's that, the difficult conversations I always have with pros are for them to get really where they want to get to. Sometimes you feel like they need to be self-employed to have that flexibility and the ability to make decisions that aren't hindered by somebody else around them completely. In fact, the only hindrance might be, actually, this is a conversation my wife I need to have, or my husband, because that's really the major effect that's going to have here. If this goes pear-shaped, I can't pay the bills.
yeah, so
So
support systems around you, maybe.
absolutely. But once they've got those, I can't push people to be self-employed, but if they really want to get where they want to get to, you almost kind of go, and can we build those steps in? And I've had a lot of coaches who have made that jump very kind of coyly and scared would be the word.
Yeah.
And they've just thrived because they've got the entrepreneurial spirit behind that to go, you know what? I'm willing to ride this out for a couple of months. I'm willing to show up every day and post on social media and do what I need to do to reach where I've got to get to down the line. So when you see people like that put the graft in and get the reward back because they're self-employed, there's nothing better than that for me.
It's kind of, I've been self-employed, fortunately, for about 15 or 16 years, and you have kind of that existence stress, don't you? That you have to make it work. If you want to be successful, you've got to put in the work. You've got to be consistent. You've got to come up with ideas and see them through. You've got to ship. And if you don't,
and if you want, and again, and it's not for everybody, is it? And that's the thing, for some people, they need the security. They like the fact they can switch the computer off at night, pull the shutter down and go home. And they're done. And I think
it's not for everyone.
No, and it's actually the biggest thing there, the conversation we have with people, it's coming back to find out who you are, the old what your why is and all that underpins that. And then you can start to put an action plan moving forward. Sorry, I've gone off track there, but it's all interlinked.
No, it's important. It's all good stuff, though.
Yeah.
Really important. What sort of, this is a big one because, we've just been talking about how passive income opportunities and stuff, but like, how has modern technology first helped you with your coaching, obviously, but then also helped you with the business aspect of coaching?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Game changer for me. So, I even, now I'm going to show my age. I'll go back to Ledbetter videos on VHS, and we were drawing lines on the screen with waterproof markers on the TVs. That was modern at the time. That was tech. And to be able to then suddenly, have, laptop-based solutions coming out that were wired into cameras, to then suddenly have this thing on the phone in front of you, it changed the game personally because your client got an experience that another coach wasn't giving them down the road. So that was one of the biggest factors I think that helped grow my business straight away. Was two things. One is you could book online. So I've probably been doing that for 15 years, and there's still coaches that don't have that system in place. It's usually a control thing. Second one was then being able to give them their notes, which we started on the back of on your business card, it would be on there. Suddenly went to, I can do this digitally, and they could show their friends the experience they were getting. So that was huge. So I've always tried to stay a step ahead of the game. So then it was first person to have a website in the golf industry. Right, let's get that in there. And suddenly, this world opens up and you may be 6-12 months ahead of it, but you're top of the SEO rankings when, Google, when things come out. And then it was the same again. So it would have been probably one of the first, maybe along with James Ridyard, to go on what was Edify at the time, which is Coach now. So again, been doing that probably for 8 to 10 years. Players having a training space. Before that, I put them into Dropbox, which nobody else was really aware of at the time. So it was always moving ahead. And I guess, so to answer that question, and now it's become, wow, I can access the world through this thing, and coaches right now, a little bit of a rant here, that think online coaching is not happening. It's here already. I work with coaches that are making 6 figures purely online. And that's only the front end of it. I have other coaches come at me and go, I've missed the boat, haven't I, on online coaching? It's really busy out there. I'm like, no, you've not.
In your infancy.
Absolutely. You've maybe got, let's just say around 10 million golfers in the world. You don't need many to have a great online coaching business. And then I think it's looking at that and going, we always track the fitness industry. You know, we're always 2 years behind it in
Yeah,
my
yeah,
perspective. So then I start to look at what's a golf class going to look like in 24 months time, when somebody can do their Platts Rifer online, when somebody can, you know, attend that, let's look like a Peloton. I can jump on with 500 other people on a Monday morning and learn the basics of golf in the office, in a corporate environment, you know, and who's going to be at the top delivering that class to 500 people? That's where it is, isn't it? It's how do you, you know, I saw you did a nice post on AI yesterday.
yeah.
It's coming. Don't try and fight it. It's how you position yourself in the market to go, I'm a leader in how this works, and whether that's consulting how the AI helps the golfer, or whether that's
whether
just
it's owning the hardware behind.
absolutely
Yeah.
whatever it is. There's always going to be that human element, but I think it's just going, right, what's next? What's next? What's next? Not everybody's going to lead. So it's how do you help the people behind you? Yeah. And I think we're going to move more from coach to consultant.
Yeah. Yeah. Really
So yes,
interesting.
tech. So yes, tech massive.
So tech is everything. Yeah. I really like that though, that you're always looking ahead, you know, because the guys that I consult with my program, you know, their tails are on fire, they're behind, you know,
Yeah.
they're on, you know, swimming in too much, and I need to do this and I need to do that, and to be in the position to actually say no, actually, you know, that should be under control. We're, you know, I'm looking into the future.
Yeah. And I think that's a skill as well now, isn't it? That we didn't have. I was always brought up on hard work,
Yeah.
you know, kind of you get out what you put in. And I think that's gone two ways now, because I've got a lot of coaches I work with who graft hard, but don't graft smart.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I'm busy. I'm doing 40 hours a week coaching, Steve. And I'm like, yeah, but that's what your rate is per hour by the time you take all your discounts out.
Yeah.
Or actually, you know, you're spending time on this, go pay somebody else to do that for $10 an hour while you spend time over on this, because this is your next project.
And this is going to give you 100 an
yeah,
hour.
because they'll always tell you, I've not got time for that. Well, something's got to go to build that in. So
I mean,
I think
the hourly rate thing is something, you know, I saw also a post from you the other day, and I've mentioned it over and over again, you know, that getting away from that 1 hour lesson is so important, you know, absolute key to growing your income. So you touched on it slightly there, but like, I get this question a lot. You know, if you are going to go social media and you are going to go online and you're going to do your platforms and your Instagrams, etc., what's the most important advice that you could give somebody?
Ooh, stickability. It's that word I always use for people. You've got to be able to. I think with socials, you can't find the quick win. That's what makes it difficult for people. So we have a lot of clients who go into the world of socials or Facebook ads even. I've tried it, it didn't work. It's not a game, because it's so busy, because it's so, you know, so loud. There's got to be a level of persistence going on there. You know, as we said, you need to be able to deal with failure, but sometimes things haven't failed. You've not given it long enough and you've not shown up enough for it to become relative. So I guess when you break it all down, people's attention is harder to get.
Yeah.
So to get their attention, you've got to go knock on the door every day. You can't just ask once and hope people are going to see it. You can't just sit and hope that people are going to come find you. You've got to go and find them as well. So I think we need to be more proactive. I think we need to be more consistent in what we do. And then back into the world of basics, golf, whatever you like, do the little things well every day, and almost don't overthink it as well. I think we've also some people don't go into the world of socials because they see now what are almost production teams, you know, people like Piers and Andy or Rick. They've got 10 people behind them now that can do the editing, that can put everything out there for them. They can plan it and they can post it. So, you know, as I always say, it all starts with one. You've got to get out there and find you one to begin with.
Yeah.
Get one post out on one channel, find one person, and then start it rolling. It's never going to be where it is down the line. It's like we say in coaching, isn't we? You know, there's always this thing in our industry, oh, if I taught the same people now, I'd give them their money back. We should do, because we're moving forward. You know, that should be our thought process. And I think social's the same. Don't overthink it. Don't try and look at, you know, this Spielberg production.
Just do
get
your
content
thing
out there, find your niche, and work it every day. And it's as it should be. The rewards can be great off socials, but the work you've got to put in is tough.
It's tough.
with not,
Yeah.
with not much coming
there's
back.
no quick success there.
Yeah.
Is there any danger of that market being saturated and people not being heard?
Yeah, it'll switch. Same as anything else will switch. You know, I'm already starting to see a bit of a tail off on Facebook. It'd be interesting to see where that goes down the line. Obviously, Facebook owns Insta. Insta's definitely the popular at the moment. TikTok's starting to emerge. Don't see how people are monetizing it yet, and they're not sure how they're monetizing it yet, but they're getting some serious amounts of traction on there. But again, don't be in this for the likes almost as well. It's how do you turn it into, you know, a business?
Part of a funnel, isn't it? It's part of a
yeah.
yeah.
So I think that give me the question again.
Just can it get saturated? You know, because it's so difficult to be heard with so much noise, can the Instagram space be saturated where coaches say, like, you know, it's just not worth doing?
Yeah, because I think the opposite is if you've not got that willing to stick at it for 6 months,
Yeah.
then I would also say you don't need to be on it.
Right.
You know, that some
That's
people, yeah, if you got your number, you know, if you need to scale in your world and you want to make 7 figures, I think you have to go that way. There's no doubt about it. There has to be some kind of digital presence that can get out to the world very quickly. If you want to, you know, you've got a number that might be a 6-figure number that you want to make annually, I think you can do that in your workplace by being smarter in what you do. So now I've kind of, I guess, ducked the question again a little bit, but yes, it can get saturated. But usually when something gets saturated, something else will come out.
And emerges.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll go elsewhere. So I think it's one of two things: either be ready for what's coming next, or actually go, I'm not going to play that game because I can do what I need to do over here. Making sure again that it's not a numbers game. People, you know, I work with clients that have got 50,000 followers and can't monetize it. And I work with coaches who've got 2,000 followers and can pull in a 6-figure business because they've just got a very clear, you know, clientele. Their followers are very avid. They're strong, warm followers, as I described. They're really far down the funnel. The engagement rate is really high. And so therefore the interaction is great. And if you can put the right offer on the table, you know, which might be a high-end offer, you don't need many of them. You know, it's the old, can I get 10 people paying me, you know, £10,000, or do I need, you know, 10,000 people paying me £10? And one's easier to get than the other. So yes, it can get saturated. It just depends whether you go, actually, that's a good thing because there's loads of people there, or actually, I don't like to be in a room where I feel a bit claustrophobic. I'm going to go and find my little world over here, which might be Pinterest. It might be, you know, something that's not come yet, you know. So yeah, I hope that answered it.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So time's flown by.
All right.
Steve, much appreciated having you on the channel. Like I said before, for me, one of the industry leaders, and we understand why in this sort of segment of the business of coaching. Some great golden nuggets in there for everybody, myself included. Appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man, and I'm sure the audience will really enjoy this content. So thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me on. And just, you know, to anybody, reach out if we can help with anything. Just, you know, zip me on Instagram or WhatsApp. You'll find me.
Brilliant. Much appreciated. Thank you, Steve.
All right, Adam. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks. Bye.